Hello, everybody. Welcome to Aesthetics and Theory of Communications. This is week 1, and this week we're going to be focusing on emotional design. We're going to take a quick overview of what that week looks like. When you're planning your assignments out, take time to read through your exploration and your project materials so that you can plan what your week's going to look like as you're completing your assignments. That way, you're going to know what you need and what tools you're going to need for the creation of what you're being asked to submit for your assignments and how they need to be executed. The week 1 exploration is defined by how we look at text in design. Now, text is possibly one of the most overlooked when you're thinking about the design, but no, it's really very important because text is how you deliver your content. Your style, the size, where you place the text, it all provides your designer, yourself, with unlimited tools, allowing you to be flexible with your designs and, practicing how to tie in text with design. That's going to allow you to become more comfortable with that process. One way to do that is to just explore all the different types of fonts out there and typeface. I'm sure you can think of different examples in your own head when you've seen movie posters and maybe it's been a horror movie and it looks like somebody has made the typeface like a claw mark going down when they're doing certain letters. It evokes a response in you the way the text was designed and put on that particular ad or poster. So think about all the different types of mass media that you've looked at, especially in print ads, and how the text has affected you emotionally when you've looked at that particular ad. Or websites. I mean, think about a website where you go to the website and, the text is really small and you can't read it, or it's really big and blue on a green background and it makes it difficult to, decipher what they're trying to tell you. You lose interest and you don't want to keep going back to that particular site. So text is very important when it comes to the message that you're trying to convey. And we're going to explore that idea in our week 1 exploration. This activity, we are going to first expand our font collection. So how I gave the example of the claw text, and you can think of many other kinds of examples just on your own, but you're going to go out there and you're going to search for fonts that appeal to you, or would help you tell the message of what you're trying to design. Now, I gave a couple examples here of places where you can get free fonts. Now, please use whatever kind of font gathering tool that you would like to use. Don't pay for any, though. There are plenty out there that are free for you to use, and I just would highly discourage you from purchasing any at this point. There's many out there to explore. Google is your friend when it comes to this. So go out there and browse for the fonts and download some that, kind of speak to you. Are they cheery and positive? Do they give you, a happy feeling when you read them? Then that would be something you might use on a ad or something you were designing that needed those features. Like if you want something serious and business-like, you'll look for things that fit that particular genre for you. And if you're trying to do something scary, you have an idea of that already from the previous examples. So, kind of look for what feels good for you and download a couple so that you have them to play with for your activity that you're going to be using for submitting this week. You're going to use those fonts that you have found. You're going to search for some images that you like, that you can match up with the font that you have picked. So you're going to come up with a slogan or a catchphrase or a tagline. Basically, you're creating an ad, or maybe even it could be something that's similar to, an inspirational poster, or, something that gives information. You can play around with that a little bit, but you're going to want to match your font with the image that you're selecting. So I have given you a place to look for images, but you have the whole of the internet. The only thing I ask is that if you have not taken the image, you have to give credit for the image where credit is due. So make sure that you cite the image and make sure that that is given as a resource, because if it's not yours, then it's not yours to use without at least citing that you have used it from that place. After you've come up with your slogan or catchphrase or decided how you're going to create your ad or your poster, you're then going to put together the image along with your text, okay? And this is where you're going to play around. This is your sandbox, your time for you to, play with the different fonts and how they match up with your image, and does the whole thing, when completed, really invoke an emotion in you. And hopefully it will, and you'll find that you enjoy doing that. When you're done, you're going to use the media button on FSO. It's that little bitty folder when you press in the box at the bottom to upload that underneath the project. Remember that all your exploration assignments are uploaded underneath the project submission link on FSO. So for example, when it says week 2 exploration, there you're just going to put, when you've completed the activity, you're going to click, I have completed this activity. There's not a space for you to actually put your submission there. Your submission will go underneath your week 2 project. That's where you're going to put all of your submissions every week. So this is something hopefully by now you guys are kind of used to, and this is just a little overview of how it goes. But that's how we will do submissions here in AET as well. So the week 1 project, this is going to go back again to emotional response using emotional design. And it's talking about how emotions have an important role in our ability of how we understand the world and how we learn. Things that are aesthetically pleasing, they seem to be they're interpreted by us as being effective just because the appeal seems easy or speaks to us in some way. You kind of form an attachment to what you're viewing or what you're interacting with when those things occur. So if you as a designer can make things that evoke that emotional response, well, if you're creating websites or text or in any other ways that you might find that you're designing, images and typography and color and all of those things come together to produce pleasure or joy or surprises. It might be a surprising color, things that draw an emotional response to what it is that you're looking at. And there are a lot of different ways that this happens. There's visceral, behavioral, reflective. You're going to read about that this week in your project assets. But the goal of this week is for you to identify these different types of emotional responses and think about how you can evoke those emotional responses when you find that you yourself are designing. So for this activity, you're going to use a video called The Scarecrow. It's from Chipotle, and this was definitely designed to create an emotional response from its viewer and to make a connection. And it actually covers, I think, all of them. It covers each of the choices that you have, from happy to sad to surprise to pleasure to you name it. It's covered here. So it's a great example for relating to the concepts that you're going to read about this week. You're going to do an analysis of that. I want you to think about those things that you read about while you're watching the video, and you'll answer the prompts about the emotions that the creator was trying to evoke, and which of the 3 levels of emotional design did the commercial, give, and where specifically in the commercial did you feel that the most. So cover all of those things in good detail, and give it a pretty good analysis, and let us all know why you think this ad gives such a emotional response to everybody. Okay, so that's going to be the project. And so again, when you're done with that, you will have your exploration and your project both in the same location, and they will both be due on the Sunday. And if you have any questions, I want to encourage you all not to comment on the assignments or back on the comments that have been given to you. When you're trying to talk to your instructor, use the little folder. It's not a folder, it's an envelope. Use the little envelope at the top and make a new message there. It's a new email message that sends a notification to your instructor. And it always shows up there. With the comments, they seem to get lost sometimes in the large amount of comments that come in from the class. So if you use the new message, every time there'll be a separate notification on what you want to say to your instructor. So it's just simple, straightforward, and the easiest way to make any communications with your instructor. And if you have any questions at all whatsoever, please do not hesitate to contact your instructor. That's what we're all here for. We want to help, and we actually really enjoy doing it. So please don't hesitate. And I hope you have a great week. Any questions? Use the mail button at the top, and we will all talk soon.